Hi, welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, my name is Saji.
And my name is Alex. We tried to start conceiving. We both decided that we wanted to have kids.
Okay, well, I guess let's back up a little. We were married for a year before this one figured, like, oh, I'm ready, let's have kids. And again, as a military spouse, when you see everyone around you, they literally get pregnant like the first month of marriage.
Yeah.
Or
so they get married quickly and they have children very quickly.
Yeah, like everyone in the military has kids. And I'm like, okay, we're long distance, I don't get to see you, and I don't get a baby. This is fun. I married the right person. Just kidding. I did. He's amazing. So after a year of marriage, I don't remember the talk. I don't remember how it happened. Actually, I do. My birth control is about to end. So it's usually for a year. And if so, then you have to go back to the doctor, get a new prescription, blah, blah, blah. And I told him, I was like, well, like, I'm married a year. Might as well just start trying.
Time to try.
Yeah, like, I really need birth control. And he agreed, which is exciting. Like, that's always a big part in your marriage, I think, when you decide, like, okay, we're ready to start a family together and actually be, like, I don't know. I think it's a bigger commitment than getting married when you decide to actually start a family together.
Yeah, you're involving a whole other life.
Yeah. So that was in 2017. We got married in 2016, so that was a year.
Mm-hmm. So it was November of 17 that she stopped taking birth control.
And I was so naive. I thought, oh, okay, this is like the first month it's gonna happen, you know? I was so determined. I was like, it can't be hard. Like,
yeah.
People do this all the time. So that first month, I was convinced that I was pregnant. Like, I was having symptoms and thought I got, like, the implantation bleeding. Found out it was just my period coming. And I was like, oh, well, okay. It's only been a month.
Yeah.
What's the worst that can happen? Actually, no. So, before I got off my birth control, I had to see my doctor anyways. And to get my pap. So for mine, when my doctor did it, she was like, wow, you have a really small uterus. And like a really tight, like weird cervix. I was like, is that going to be a problem if I ever have kids? And I remember texting him. I'm like, I have a small uterus. Like, I'm never going to have a kid. I didn't know what that meant, but it didn't sound good. So I always thought I would have problems conceiving because of my tiny uterus, but he was very optimistic. He was texting me like, oh, you're fine. Like,
well, because we didn't know. I mean, we still don't think that was really like a cause in this journey at all. So.
Yeah, I don't know. You have like an intuition, like kind of like, you know, your body. You kind of feel like it'll be okay because you're hopeful, but then on the back of your mind, you're like, I really hope this is going to be okay. So after that, we decided to move here to San Antonio. And that was like my second cycle. And I guess I jumped the gun really quick because I already got the little ovulation thing. I'll put it in the
track it.
Yeah, I'll put it in the video. It's like the one that gives you like the smiley face if you're ovulating the next day. So we were moving and I got the smiley face on our way to San Antonio.
Yeah.
Which
terrible time.
Yeah, moving's already stressful.
Yeah. We were on the road all day long.
Yeah. And I was like, I'm ovulating. Like, I don't know what you gotta do. Wake up. I'm ovulating. And we
didn't even get to the hotel until like 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So
that next day. And we planned on getting down the road because it was like still like another 10 hours. Yeah.
I was so mad. I didn't talk to him that whole other day. I'm like, you're the reason I'm not getting pregnant. Like, yeah. I'm not that.
It's literally our second month of trying, and she's already mad at me because.
Yeah, I was crazy. I'm the type of person, if I want it, then I'm gonna get it. And infertility or trying to conceive is something you really don't have a say-so in. Like, some people are lucky; they get pregnant the first month, and. Like, oh, I slipped on it and it happened. And then some people are like us where it costs thousands of dollars. So after
takes over a year.
Your life and your marriage,
Yeah.
which that kind of happened. So after that cycle, I kept using the ovulation sticks, and I kept getting smileys. Like, I knew I was ovulating, like I knew it was happening, but I just wouldn't get pregnant. Like, my period came the same time every month. Like, it was never late, it was never early, it was
Clockwork.
yeah. So I thought, okay, at this point something's wrong with me, and that was after 10 months. And usually doctors won't take you unless you've been trying for a year or you're older than 35. At this time, we started when I was 23, so they're just gonna tell me, you're young, you're fine. So I lied. I went to a fertility clinic. I'm like, yeah, I've been trying for a year and just nothing happened. So we went to the first one here in San Antonio. He was kind of weird, but whatever. Actually, you went first. I made you go first for Siemens.
That's the first step anyways. For any of you that are going through this process, the first step is us. And they just send the guy to go get their sperm analyzed. And then they see if male factor is the reasoning for your infertility, because it's the easiest thing to do.
Results back, and the only thing that came back low that time was his morphology. So the morphology is the shape of the sperm. So sometimes they have double heads, sometimes they have like a head that's like tilted or like a giant head. So his was like his was a 10% morphology, and like normal average was like 15%. So at the time, the fertility doctor or the reproductive endocrinologist or didn't really focus on him. Like, they were just like, oh, that's fine, like you should be able to get pregnant. So I was like, okay, like I think that's when I cried the most, because I realized that
You felt like it was your fault.
yeah, like it's official. Like, I'm gonna cry. Like, this is my fault. Like, I'm the reason that we can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
Which,
even though I kept telling you you're not.
Yeah, but it still sucked. Like,
yeah.
I had that little glimmer of hope. Like, oh, maybe it's just him. Maybe, like, I don't know. As a woman, your body should be able to do this. They should just. So what your body's made for is to bear children, and I couldn't. So I went to see the and he wasn't the best doctor, but he was the most recommended in San Antonio, which is really weird. Like, he was the most expensive and the best recommended, but I was kind of waved off. So they did all my blood tests, everything came back normal, and we went in for a consultation. So usually you go in, you sit in this like circular table, and they talk to you, but he even talked to us. Like, he just brought me in the room. He's like, all right, I'm going to give you Clomid. And for those of you who don't know what Clomid is, you take it for 5 days. It's different doses. So they start you off at the lower dose. Every month they see if you ovulate. If you ovulate, you stay at that lower dose. If you don't, then you go to the next one. So I stay at the lower one. I ovulated, obviously, because ovulation I don't think was a problem for me. But I still didn't get pregnant. So that kind of sucked. And Clomid cycles, I guess you should buy. Infertility is not covered by insurances. Some of it is, like the testing and seeing what's wrong is covered, but then the actual
trying to fix it is not covered.
That's not covered. Yeah. So a Clomid cycle, which is dumb because they just give you these pills and they just monitor, like, if you have follicle growings, that was $400 where I was. So I was like, I can't afford to like do this every single month. Yeah. Like, take these pills. So once I got the first bill, I was like, okay, well, I can't afford to keep doing this. So I Googled and I tried this. I don't recommend this. People have mixed reviews about it. So do your research before you do it. It's called, wait, where's my camera? Soy isoflurane, which works basically like Clomid. You take, what is this? So it's 40 mgs and Clomid's like 50 mgs. So you take it for those first 5 days of your cycle. Don't take it again. You ovulate, blah, blah, blah. So I did that, and we did that for like four cycles, I think. Yeah. And nothing. Like, I had never seen those 2 pink lines. So I was like, okay, something's obviously wrong. And in that time, I think that was the worst for our marriage. It's a lot. Like, I worked at a daycare at the time, so I got to be around babies.
Yeah, I think that honestly just made it worse.
Yeah, I mean...
And then there's, like, nothing that I could say or do to make it better. She always thought that it was her fault, even though I think that it was... probably had a lot to do with me, and...
Yeah, but you don't know that going through. Like, you kind of feel resentment from your partner. Like, I know you probably didn't resent me, but you feel it. I think that was the hardest part of all of this was, 1, being around kids that you know you can't have. 2, having a great husband and not being able to give him the kids that he wants. So that's when I made the decision to go to a different fertility specialist. Which, I don't know, I feel like that just made it worse. So my first consultation with her...
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was so bad. So we sent over all of my labs and all my results, which, by the way, I forgot to tell them, like, they just put us in the unexplained infertility, which is kind of like a...
Well, that was during this visit, right?
No, I kind of diagnosed myself with unexplained before they said I was not ovulating, which I was ovulating, so I didn't really take it seriously. Either way, we're jumping. So we went to this new one, and she did like a PowerPoint and everything. Which I was like, did she just give this PowerPoint to everyone? Like,
yeah.
Like, I didn't really feel special. She was basically...
Well, I feel like they're trying to sell their own products, so there's not a whole lot of research, really, I think, behind whatever it is they're trying to do. So for us, it was... They wanted to start off with IUI and then try to advance us to IVF, which I feel like a lot of doctors, like, that's their goal. Their end goal is IVF because they make $20,000 every time somebody does it. And you don't get any type of, like, refund or any more assistance if it doesn't work. You just pay them another $20,000.
Yeah.
And keep doing that until you have a baby.
So when we went there, they basically told me that since I've never been pregnant, that I would have a 1% chance of ever conceiving by myself. Which, like, no one wants to hear that. No one wants to hear that you have...
Yeah, that's pretty low.
Yeah, like, that's basically impossible. Like, basically, they're like...
You're not gonna...
Yeah, you're never gonna have kids without us, so get your checkbook out.
Yeah.
And then they gave me a 5% chance for IUIs. They gave me a 35% chance for Invocell IVF and a 45% chance for full IVF. So, like, at that time, we were like, oh, we gotta try something. Obviously, us trying by ourselves won't work. So we did the IUI, which I knew it wasn't gonna work. Like, 5% chance. What was that, like, hitting the lotto?
I mean, it's so greater than the lotto, but...
Okay, I had
it's
the
still,
same amount.
It's not enough to really instill any sort of hope. You
No.
just kind of expect it to not work.
And if you guys don't know what an IUI is, it's basically they put a catheter up your uterus and they just shoot the sperm when you're ovulating. I did have to do a trigger shot, which is basically something to make you ovulate. And I did Clomid. So, Clomid, trigger shot, and then the procedure. And then you come in, I think it was like 10 days after to see if you were pregnant. I wasn't. So at that point, I think I was done. Like, I couldn't, emotionally, I couldn't take it anymore. And that was after, what is that, a year and a half of trying and nothing. So I came to him and I'm like, alright, we're done. Like, I'm sorry, I'm just never gonna have a child with you. We can adopt, or...
But then that was when I was like really trying to push we need to just relax, because I've talked to other people that have experienced this, and just don't stress about it. Just do your thing and wait and see what happens. But you just couldn't do that.
Well, who would want to do that? Like, who just wants to, like...
Wait.
Yeah, like, I've waited this long. When does the waiting stop? And I think that's the worst part of infertility. It's because you go through these highs and lows. Like, you go through the roller coaster of like, oh my gosh, this is my month. Like, I just have to stay positive and this will happen. Yeah. And then you go through your low to like, this is never gonna happen. Like, I used to cry so much. Like, every time my period came, every month, I would cry. It was bad. But
I felt so bad because, like, there's nothing that I could do to help console you and make you feel better. You just felt so guilty and stressed out about the whole situation, and
like, my body was a failure. Like, yeah. It was bad. Infertility is never easy for anyone, and I wouldn't wish it on, like, my worst enemy. Like, it's not.
But it seems like it's something that's becoming more and more prevalent. So, which is another reason why we wanted to make this video.
Yeah.
Was to try to help other people that have been going through this, and
obviously if you clicked on this, unfortunately, my heart goes out to you if you are experiencing this. But I guess when we stop all the tears, there is some hope at the end of the tunnel. Yeah. So after my IUI, we did take a break, but I was still researching like the next step. So I don't remember if you said, I remember the 35% was Invocell IVF, which is basically the same thing, except your body's the incubator instead of a lab. Yeah, instead of your in babies going into a lab, they stay in your body. So the clinic here in San Antonio, they had it, but they were more expensive.
What was it, like 10? I think it was 10,000.
It was 10, but that included everything. That included like medication, and the procedure. Yeah. And storage. So it's not bad. Like $10,000, but the 35% chance was just
deterring.
Yeah. So
when you're spending that kind of money.
We decided to go to Houston, which is like
4 hours away.
Yeah, it's like 3 hours. Yeah. We decided to go to Houston. It's like 3.5 hours. And we met with Invocell is not that popular, so I will probably
getting there though.
Yeah, I'll probably do another video talking about Invocell itself, because it's that middle ground between like full IVF and IUI that's kind of like crappy. Yeah. So we went to Houston, and she was way more positive. She was like, we're gonna have you do another semen analysis, and we're gonna lost my train of thought. And then we probably will have like a 50% chance of it working. So that semen analysis came back worse. When he went the second time, his morphology went down to 1% from 10%, and his motility was 45%, and it went to 25%. But I use those numbers because he was in nursing school, and I just think...
I think the stress had something to do with it.
Yeah, like I still... Like, it's still not his fault. It was still my fault. But that was the numbers. So they're like, oh, IVF will be perfect for you. Like, we can bypass... There's this thing called ICSI. So they take the sperm, take my egg, and they just put the sperm in the egg. So the motility and morphology didn't even matter. Yeah. So we did Invocell, which I think I was a little bit more optimistic with it.
Yeah, you were definitely more optimistic.
Yeah, like I had, like we did vacations before that, like went to New Orleans, went to San Diego, like we enjoyed our marriage.
Our cruise.
Yeah, we went on a cruise. Like that's another suggestion if you guys are doing infertility.
Make sure you take the time to still, because it can sometimes drive a little bit of a wedge between the two. So taking the time to go on a vacation and reconnect and
just enjoy your
each
partner.
other's company.
Yeah. Because it does get time consuming, and you stop, you stop focusing on your marriage. You know, marriage is a job too. So if you lose that focus, you can... Yeah. But either way, we did Invocell, which is the same. I still had to give myself shots. Well, okay, he gave me shots. Yeah. Like, same amount of medication.
2 every day?
That's a whole nother thing. But it is cheaper. So our Invocell ran us $5,000, which is like a special for that clinic. And then our medication ran us $1,400, which, again, if you guys are doing IVF, call around for medications. They're going to send you a list. Don't just go with that list. Call different ones. There's even some programs that do like a discount based off your income too. Because I think medication is something people don't think about, but that's like another $2,000 to $4,000 if you don't think about it. So we did that, and I was the most pessimistic at it. And I'm like, how are you not worried? Like, how do you think this is going to happen? Like, you don't even care. Like, we just spent all this money. He sold his truck for us to do it. Yeah. It wasn't a nice truck, but he sold it.
It was enough to cover.
Yeah, it covered our Invocell, and we still had to put it on our credit cards, which we're still paying off. It's a financial burden, to say the least. Having a kid is not cheap if you have infertility, unfortunately. Yeah. But it did work. I am currently going on 32 weeks pregnant. So, looking back at our journey, it was shitty. Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not gonna even lie saying, like, it was all worth it. No, it sucked. Like, it was
stressful.
Yeah, like, I never thought I would see this light at the end of the tunnel, which I'm still not there. I still gotta give birth. Like, I probably still won't feel like this journey is completely over until
you have her in your hands.
Yeah, like, she's breathing, she's there, everything's okay. And I'm not gonna even tell you, like, keep going. It's so worth it, because it's hard. It's hard to keep going. Like, it's hard to imagine it being over. And then if you want more kids, then you gotta go through it all over again.
Hopefully we don't.
Yeah, hopefully. But do you have any advice for people going through it?
No, just for husbands, I think that it's hard because we don't really understand. I know, like, for me, I felt bad, and we want to fix things, but this isn't something that we can just fix. You can tell them, like, it's going to be okay, we're going to get through this all you want, but it doesn't change anything. You just kind of have to listen and just be there.
Let her cry.
Let her cry, because it's going to happen.
Every month.
And help find solutions, like with the IUI and IVF. I think she kind of took the reins because she was determined to have this baby. But I think the biggest thing is just knowing, like, it's okay not to fix it. Just be there to listen and support her. Yeah. And just remind them, you know, she took the blame every single day we were trying. And I think it's important to just make sure you just reinforce that it's not it's not one person's fault or the other's. It's a journey that you guys are both going through together.
Unfortunately.
So,
again, I can't look back and say it was, like, all worth it yet, but it was bad. And I think for both of us, our hearts go out to anyone who's still going through it. Yeah. But you're gonna get through it. Like, I think that's...
Stay positive. I think that's the biggest takeaway. Yeah. And don't blame yourself.
So yeah, I think I've cried enough for this video. Thank you for clicking on our channel. We will do more content. I don't know what yet. This is, like, new for us, but I hope you guys enjoyed listening to our emotional, long-winded story.
Yeah, 30 minutes.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.